Highlander for the Commodore 64 is one of those games that serves as a stark reminder of how reckless the gaming industry could be during the 1980s, particularly when it came to licensed games. In this case, Ocean Software released a game so bafflingly bad that it defies belief, not only that it was sold at full price, but that anyone involved could look at the finished product and think, yes, this is acceptable. Honestly, the developers would have done the world a favour by smashing every copy with a lump hammer before release. This isn't just bad, it's borderline unplayable. Welcome to the abomination that is the Commodore 64 version of Ocean's Highlander, based on the 1986 cult classic action fantasy film of the same name.
There can be only one!
Let's talk about the source material. Highlander carved a niche in popular culture. It tells the story of Connor MacLeod, one of a group of immortals who can only die by decapitation.
There can be only one.
These immortals battle each other across centuries for a vaguely defined ultimate reward known as the prize. The tagline, "There can be only one," has become iconic, ensuring the film remains a touchstone for fans of 80s cinema. However, this game manages to take that intriguing premise and strip it of all its charm, creativity, and coherence. Upon starting Highlander, you're greeted with a few options. There's a two-player mode, but it's hard to imagine why anyone would subject a friend to this unless they were looking to end the friendship. Let's dive into the game itself. As expected, Highlander is a one-on-one sword-fighting game. It's not a terrible idea in theory, given the film's focus on duels. This direction makes sense. However, the execution is a catastrophic failure. You play as Connor MacLeod, armed with his trusty katana. Your first opponent is none other than Ramírez, MacLeod's mentor, famously portrayed by Sean Connery in the film. Except here, Ramírez is more interested in lopping off MacLeod's head than offering guidance. Sure, you could argue this is all training, but there's nothing remotely friendly about Ramírez's relentless attacks. The truth is, Ocean didn't seem to care about capturing the essence of the characters or narrative. They were just cobbling together a game as quickly as possible. Control-wise, Highlander is an unmitigated disaster. The joystick and fire button ostensibly allow you to perform attacks and blocks at various heights, but the reality is that your inputs rarely correspond to any discernible action. Getting the same move to execute twice in a row is like trying to win the lottery twice in 1 week. Worse still, MacLeod often moves of his own accord, as though controlled by a mischievous ghost. He'll frequently walk backward unprompted, or swing his sword in random directions, leaving you feeling utterly powerless. Combat lacks any sense of impact or feedback. The sound effects, a constant grating ting ting ting, are presumably meant to simulate sword clashes, but sound more like someone banging a tin can with a spoon. The swords themselves pass through enemies without resistance, and your health bar, that thin line at the screen's bottom, decreases seemingly at random. Sometimes you take damage when a sword clearly misses you, other times a direct hit does nothing. It's a chaotic, unsatisfying mess. Even the premise of the game undermines itself. Despite being based on Highlander, the game doesn't offer any sense of progression or stakes. You can load up any of the fights from the start and there's no storyline or reward for victory. Beating an opponent simply increases your win counter by 1, offering no satisfaction or incentive to continue. After Ramírez, you face Fasil, a minor character from the film. Inexplicably, Fasil is more manageable than Ramírez despite being a less significant figure. Even so, the fight is as clunky and incomprehensible as before. Ocean Software didn't even bother to spell Fasil's name correctly, labelling him as Fazir in the game, a fitting metaphor for the lack of care put into this project. Finally, there's Kurgan, the main antagonist and final boss. This battle epitomises the game's failures. Kurgan is ridiculously overpowered, capable of defeating MacLeod in mere moments. Blocking is useless as the controls are too sluggish and unresponsive to keep up with Kurgan's relentless assault. Even landing a hit on him feels like an insurmountable challenge. The fight boils down to Kurgan strolling forward, hitting you a couple of times and lopping off your head while you flail ineffectually. It's not just frustrating, it's downright demoralising. From a gameplay perspective, Highlander is arguably amongst some of the worst games I've ever played. It fails on every conceivable level. The controls are broken, the combat is meaningless, and there's no story or reward to have kept me invested. It's a textbook example of how not to design a game, where the fundamental act of playing feels like punishment. However, there is one saving grace: the music. Martin Galway's Sid rendition of Queen's A Kind of Magic is a genuinely impressive piece of work. It's the sole moment of quality in an otherwise abysmal experience. In conclusion, Highlander for the Commodore 64 is a train wreck of epic proportions. It's a game so devoid of fun, functionality, and respect for its source material that it's hard to believe it was ever released. If you're looking for a laugh, the title theme is worth a listen, but otherwise, avoid this disaster at all costs. There may be only one Highlander, but this is one game that should have been beheaded. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more Commodore 64 games. Hopefully, not as bad as this one. What did you think of Highlander? Come on, let us know in the comments section, and try to keep it clean. Not every game will be a classic, don't forget, but stick around, and hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye for now.
I have something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away.